Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women on Death Row. I'm JT. Today, for episode 4, we're going to talk about Heather Keaton from Alabama. As with every episode in this series, I'll be covering this case using primary documentation, provided I could find it. Any sources used will be in the show notes. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so we can let you know whenever a new video is posted or we go live. That is quite literally the easiest and cheapest way to support us. And without further ado, let's get into it. Heather Laval Keaton, now 35, has been on death row since August 21st, 2015 for her role in the murder of her stepson and the reckless manslaughter of her stepdaughter. This case presents a haunting narrative of abuse, neglect, and the tragic deaths of two young children, Natalie and Chase DeBlaze. Heather Keaton, then 22, began a relationship with John Joseph DeBlaze in 2008, while she was a student at Spring Hill College in Mobile, Alabama. At the time, John was married and had two children with his wife, Corrine Heathcock. By early 2009, John and Corrine had separated, and Heather took a leave of absence from college to live with John, his parents, and his children, Natalie and Chase. According to court records, Ann DeBlaze, John's mother, witnessed Heather's harsh disciplinary methods, such as using duct tape to bind the children's hands and tape over their mouths as punishment. This prompted John's parents to ask Heather to leave their home in July of 2009. Heather briefly returned to her hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, but came back to live with John in December of that year, by which time she was pregnant with John's child. The family moved in with John's friends for a while in January of 2010, where Heather reportedly referred to Natalie and Chase as, quote, spawn of Satan and, quote, demon spawns from hell, expressing concern they would be jealous of her unborn baby. By the end of January 2010, Heather, John, and the children moved to Peach Place Inn in Mobile. The inn's manager later testified that Natalie and Chase appeared pale and sickly during their stay. In July of 2010, they were evicted from the inn and moved to an apartment in Louisville owned by Heather's mother, Helena Keaton. The children were conspicuously absent, and Heather told her mother that they were with John's relatives in Las Vegas until they could settle. In November of 2010, Helena overheard a concerning conversation between Heather and John, prompting her to confront Heather. Heather admitted that Natalie had died, leading Helena and her fiancé to contact the police for a welfare check, fearing that Heather was being held captive by John. Heather was escorted to the Louisville Police Department, where she confessed that both children had died months earlier. According to Heather's account, Natalie became gravely ill a few days before her death, emitting a foul odor from her breath and vomiting a black substance. Heather claimed she urged John to take Natalie to the hospital, but he refused. Natalie was allegedly kept in a closet for 6 to 8 hours, and when Heather checked on her, Natalie was unresponsive. John allegedly disposed of Natalie's body by taking her to a remote wooded area while Heather and Chase were present. Chase met a similar fate shortly thereafter. Heather was arrested for child abuse and later changed some of her statements, claiming John threatened to kill her if she reported the children's deaths. She alleged that John controlled her phone and had people monitoring her actions. When confronted with witness testimonies about her abusive behavior, Heather dismissed them as, quote, habitual liars. While incarcerated at Mobile County Jail, Rosanna Taylor, an inmate who interacted with Heather, testified that Heather frequently talked about the children and admitted to poisoning them with antifreeze. Taylor recalled Heather's lack of remorse, describing her as inhuman. Other inmates corroborated parts of Taylor's testimony. John was arrested in Florida shortly after Heather and extradited to Mobile. In a statement on December 28, 2010, John claimed he choked both children to death because Heather left him no choice and he was blinded by love. On December 3rd, 2010, he led law enforcement officers to the sites where he had buried the children. The partial skeletal remains of Chase and Natalie were recovered in December of 2010, approximately 6 and 9 months after their deaths, respectively. Autopsies conducted in July of 2012 by Dr. Stacy Turner, a medical examiner with the Alabama Department of Forensic Services, concluded that the children likely died from a combination of poisoning, dehydration, starvation, and asphyxiation. On May 27, 2015, Heather was found guilty of capital murder in Chase's death and reckless manslaughter in Natalie's case. The jury deemed Chase's murder especially heinous and recommended the death penalty for Heather by a vote of 11-1. The court upheld the jury's recommendation, and she was sentenced to death. John DeBlaze, now 40, is also on death row for his role in the deaths of his children. The tragic case of Heather Keaton and John DeBlaze reveals a grim narrative of abuse and neglect that led to the deaths of 2 innocent children. Their convictions and sentences underscore the severe consequences of their actions and serve as a somber reminder of the importance of safeguarding vulnerable children. The case continues to resonate as a cautionary tale of the devastating effects of domestic abuse and the justice system's role in addressing such heinous crimes. Thank you for tuning in to Women on Death Row. If you liked this, you can find this and more on the True Crime and Wine Time YouTube channel, as well as the Courtyard Discord server. Click on the Discord invite link in the show notes and get ready for a great time with wonderful people. Until next time, take care of yourself, your friends, family, and community. Don't let anybody dull your sparkle, and shine on. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. We'll see you.